দর্শক, স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি অস্ট্রেলিয়ায় উচ্চশিক্ষা বিষয়ক RTVর বিশেষ অনুষ্ঠান ম্যাকোয়ারি ইউনিভার্সিটি সহযোগিতায় স্টাডি অপরচুনিটিজ ইন অস্ট্রেলিয়া অনুষ্ঠানে আপনাদের সঙ্গে আছে আমি শরীফুল ইসলাম খান। আমাদের আজকের অতিথি অস্ট্রেলিয়ার ম্যাকোয়ারি ইউনিভার্সিটির আন্তর্জাতিক বিভাগের পরিচালক মিস্টার ডেভিড হ্যারিসন, অস্ট্রেলিয়ার ম্যাকোয়ারি ইউনিভার্সিটির দক্ষিণ এশিয়া ও মধ্যপ্রাচ্যের আঞ্চলিক পরিচালক মিস্টার তানভীর শহীদ এবং অস্ট্রেলিয়ার ম্যাকোয়ারি ইউনিভার্সিটির দক্ষিণ এশিয়ার কান্ট্রি ম্যানেজার মিস্টার রিয়াসত হোসেন। ওয়েলকাম এভরিওয়ান, স্পেশালি মিস্টার ডেভিড হ্যারিসন. I believe this is your first visit of Bangladesh, right?
It is, Sharif, and it's great to be here. Beautiful, beautiful country and my very first time here.
Excellent, excellent. It's very great to know about your first experience of Bangladesh. We are here talking about Macquarie University and study opportunities in Australia for especially Bangladeshi students. So would you please tell us about Australia a bit?
Yeah, well, Australia for me has always been the land of opportunity. It's just an extraordinary country. I myself was born in the UK, and I decided when I was 20 years ago, many years ago, to come and study in Australia. And it's a decision I have never looked back upon and regretted. It's just an extraordinary country in so many ways. The environment, the beauty, the beaches, the beautiful clean air, the oceans. It's just a stunning place to go. And then on top of that, when you think about the opportunities, for me it gave me an opportunity to further my career and earn a good salary. I read the other day about Australia that we overtook the Netherlands for the longest running period of constant economic growth.
Wow.
Can you believe that? So the world record, so over 20 years of economic growth every year. So no two fiscal quarters of consecutive negative growth. That is the land of opportunity. So we've had a fantastically growing economy in Australia, very positive employment, beautiful weather, beautiful environment, and a very welcoming people. You know, Australia is full of immigrants. The people here today, none of us were born in Australia, but we've all carved out a wonderful life for ourselves, and over 130 different nationalities in Australia and Sydney, and it's this wonderful melting pot of cultures that come together. So there's a lot to love about Australia, and many people from Bangladesh visit Australia, and they're all highly impacted by it, and whether they're coming for a holiday or study, it's a truly, truly special place.
Would you please tell us about Australian education system? How many universities there?
Yeah. Well, when people think of Australia, they think of the beaches, they think of the kangaroos and the koalas. They don't always think of the universities.
Right.
And it's really been the unsung hero of Australia. And by the way, just on the kangaroos, there are twice as many kangaroos as people in Australia. Fun fact for you. Around about 25 million people in Australia and almost 50 million kangaroos. But back to the education. So no one really thinks of Australia higher education, but the reputation of the universities is absolutely outstanding. And for a small country of some 20 million people and 40 universities, 39 of which are public, to be ranked in the top 100 and 200 in the world, an outstanding quality level of university there. And in Australia, our education system is backed up by a very, very high quality assurance process and a standard framework. And that ensures that all of the students there, whether they're at high school, whether they're at tertiary education and our world-leading universities, that they get a very, very high quality education. So it's something we're very, very proud of in Australia is our universities and, of course, the university we work for, Macquarie.
Very good. Thank you so much for your input, really. We will now go to Mr. Tanvir Shahid. Would you please tell us about international students? How many of them now in Australia?
Over the last decade, every year, Australia's international students have been increasing. Like, you'd be happy to know that even the last year, we had over 11% growth in compared to the 2017. At this moment, if you like to tell me, it's around over 600,000 international students currently studying in Australia. Of course, we do have Bangladeshi students, over 6,600. And however, it's a multicultural country. Similar way, we have seen that there are lots of students all over the world. Like in Macquarie University, we are having over 100 different nationalities. They're coming from China, they're coming from South Asia, coming from even Brazil, Vietnam. All a very nice mix of international students are there. And we say that over 2.5 million alumni have been graduated from various Australian universities.
We would really like to know what are the facilities that international students normally get when in Australia studying?
Sure. First of all, I would say that Australia is having a wonderful weather. So the Bangladeshi students are getting a very similar weather. They don't have the snowfall or high temperatures. So very favorable weather for Bangladeshi student or any international students that Australia can offer. And the most important part, the Australian education, the whole framework, it is governed by ESOS Act. ESOS means the Education Services for Overseas Student, where our each and every student, what they are going to study, it needs to be very clearly defined. The students' tuition fees are pretty much protected by the government. So all these facilities the Australian government is giving, on top of the favorable government policies are there. For an example, there is a new streamlined visa process where the students can lodge their visa by sitting at their home online. Also, the students can work in Australia around 40 hours in fortnight, and they can work inside or outside of campus, which is very unlikely like many other countries in the world. So you would say that Australian government has put lots of efforts for international students. That's why I would say that Australia is having the highest number of student and population ratio in the whole world.
That's amazing. In fact, we would really like to know more about Macquarie University, so I will just go back to David. David, would you like to tell us more about Macquarie University?
Sure. Well, Macquarie is in a very short period of time, so it's only 54 years old, which is quite young by university standards globally, has now become one of the top universities in the world. So we are ranked in all of the major ranking systems in the top 1% of all universities, so that's top 200 in the world. We're a public university based in Sydney, and we have a wonderful student cohort, so around about 45,000 students, and 12,000 of those are international students, which is a fantastic mix between domestic students. For every 3 domestic students, there's an international student, and from all over the world, from Latin America, Africa, North Asia, South Asia, and of course a great community of Bangladeshi students there on campus. So the university is very, very highly ranked, but not only the ranking and the quality, it's the actual physical environment of the university and the setting of the university. It's quite unique in Australia. So we're actually located on 300 acres of parkland campus. So that's beautiful green landscape, which is a fantastic area for students to relax and to students to study. So it's a very unique part of the university. And the other very cool thing about the location of the university is the access to companies. So international students, when they're looking for their education, it's very important. It's a major investment in their time and their money. And they're looking for the return on their investment. And what's going to happen when I have that degree? What's going to happen in the future? Where am I going to get that job? And Macquarie University is really fortunate because we have this land that we have companies actually located on our land, 23 companies on our very land, and over 100 companies in the next door technology park, which is adjacent to the university. So that gives students tremendous opportunities for internships and practical work integrated learning, so they can really get the best out of their major investment. We have over 11 subjects that are ranked in the top 50 and top 100 in the world by the QS ranking system. And we have the leading Master of Business Administration, which is part of the Macquarie Graduate School of Management. So it's an extremely high quality university in an amazing location in Sydney. And we're very proud of when the students arrive, how we look after them. It really is international, it's through and through for the university. It's a university of service and engagement. So when the students arrive, from the moment they arrive at the airport, we pick them up throughout their entire degree. Everyone's focused on making sure that they have an amazing experience at the university.
দর্শকদেরকে আমি বলবো যারা এই অনুষ্ঠান দেখছেন খুবই ইম্পর্ট্যান্ট এই ফ্যাক্টরগুলো একটা ইন্টারন্যাশনাল স্টুডেন্টের সেটেলিংয়ের ব্যাপারে। তো আমরা এই বিষয় নিয়ে আরও পরে কথা বলছি, একটু এই পর্যায়ে নিব ছোট্ট একটা বিরতি। আপনারা দেখছেন অস্ট্রেলিয়া উচ্চশিক্ষা বিষয়ক আরটিভির বিশেষ অনুষ্ঠান স্টাডি অপরচুনিটিজ ইন অস্ট্রেলিয়া। ফিরছি একটু পরেই, সঙ্গেই থাকুন। দর্শক, আবারও আমন্ত্রণ অস্ট্রেলিয়া উচ্চশিক্ষা বিষয়ক আরটিভির বিশেষ অনুষ্ঠান স্টাডি অপরচুনিটিজ ইন অস্ট্রেলিয়াতে, সহযোগিতায় ম্যাকুয়ারি ইউনিভার্সিটি। এটা অস্ট্রেলিয়ার সিডনিতে অবস্থিত। আমরা এখন একটু সিডনি সম্বন্ধে জানবো বা মিস্টার ডেভিড হ্যারিসনের কাছ থেকে। ডেভিড, more questions for you. Would you please tell us about Sydney? Where is Sydney?
Yeah.
Why would students choose Sydney?
Sure. Well, I chose Sydney originally because I'm from the UK and I was an international student looking at all the cities in the world. And look, there are some amazing cities out there, but Sydney catches the attention. It's something magical about it. And it always ranks within the top 10 cities in the world for livability. You know, so what does livability mean? It comes down to quality of life, the beauty and the natural environment. When I was looking at the photos, what attracted me was the beaches, of course. Famous, beautiful beaches. But then the safety aspect as well. It's an incredibly safe city where students and parents can feel very, very comfortable knowing that extraordinarily low crime rates and a very safe and welcoming city. So the environment, the safety, and then for me, Sydney has that economic X factor. So it has the companies based there, many multinational companies on our doorstep. And it's really the headquarters for many companies in Australia that have got a major footprint in the Asia-Pacific region. So it's the quality of life, the natural life, the welcoming people, and it's the fantastic employment and career opportunities that a big city like Sydney can give you.
I would like to add that that's why most of the Bangladeshi students and even the migrants have been choosing Sydney over the last so many years. What we say that we have over 50,000 Bangladeshi community members are leaving Sydney or around that area.
Thank you for the input, really. I mean, I would really like to tell our audience, এটা কিন্তু খুবই ইম্পর্ট্যান্ট আমাদের জন্য। যখন আমরা দেখি যে আমাদের বাংলাদেশি কমিউনিটি থাকে, সো আমাদের স্টুডেন্টদের জন্য ওখানে সেটেল করতে কিন্তু খুবই সুবিধা হয়। দিস ইজ রিয়েলি অ্যান অ্যামেজিং ফ্যাক্ট অ্যান্ড থ্যাংক ইউ এগেন। আমরা এখন কথা বলবো মিস্টার রিয়াসত হোসেনের সাথে। রিয়াসত ভাই, আপনি আমাদেরকে বলেন যে কমন চ্যালেঞ্জেস যেগুলো স্টুডেন্টরা নর্মালি এনকাউন্টার করে, অ্যান্ড এনি সাজেশন দ্যাট ইউ মে sort of want to give to our students.
Sure, very good question. First of all, I think the most common scenario that I usually see is the culture shock that students face as soon as they land. And I don't blame anyone for it. It's inevitable because it's a new place, it's a new environment. The entire socio-economic culture is completely different from what they are used to in Bangladesh especially. What I suggest is, in this case, there is a very large local community of Bangladeshi students on campus at Macquarie University. It's called MUPSA, Macquarie University Bangladeshi Student Association. Over 550 Bangladeshi students currently studying at Macquarie University, and the culture is celebrated and lived on campus. So it's like a home away from home for these students. They can speak in their local language, they can get help regarding accommodation, part-time job opportunities if needed. At the same time, we also have a campus well-being service on campus. The job of the campus well-being team is to look after the mental well-being of students. So in case they need that professional service or support, they can always go to the campus well-being, and there are professional counselors to help them out. Secondly, if I talk from a study perspective, I would focus on few things that I see local students are not too aware of. Well, most of them are, but I would say a small cohort are not aware of this. It would be referencing and citation techniques. So this is very important for every bit of study in Australia, let that be a foundation study or a bachelor or a master's study, of course, for PhD as well. So we also have extra classes, especially for referencing and citation. There are mentor classes, there are PAL classes, there are buddy programs. These are senior students who excelled in that subject, and they can help new students out in how to learn and how to properly reference and cite. So these things are very important. At the end of the day, my suggestion is always be patient. Patient and hard work can lead to triumph in any task. As one of my favorite writers, Sam Levinson, says, don't just watch the clock, do what it does, keep going. So as long as you keep going and be patient and work hard, you can overcome any difficulty.
Tanvir bhai, would you like to tell us about the relationship between Macquarie University and Bangladesh?
Sure. As David was mentioning, Macquarie University's purpose is service and engagement, and Bangladesh has been identified as one of the priority countries for Macquarie University in terms of the service and engagement. We have been seeing that, as Mr. Riyasat also mentioned, over 550 Bangladeshi students are studying at Macquarie University. So we have been tirelessly working in Bangladesh for the engagement part for Macquarie University and Bangladeshi academic institutions. We already signed MOU like University Grant Commission, North-South University, University of Dhaka, even East-West University, and so many other universities. We are going to sign MOU very soon with Independent University Bangladesh. So that academic meeting, the study tour for the students and the staff, these are very important for Macquarie University with Bangladeshi education institutes. Apart from that, we do work with the Bangladeshi government as well. Like we have the MOU with Ministry of Public Administration, their academic training institutions, and there are lots of other few ministries we have been working. You'd be happy to know that over the last few years, Macquarie University has trained over 500 Bangladeshi government service officers at Macquarie University campus through various short training programs, and we are looking forward to go for more trainings. So these are the very unique niche engagement in between Macquarie University and Bangladeshi organization. And nevertheless, we have lots of alumni in Bangladesh and even in Australia as well. So Bangladeshi alumni are really part of the university. We try to do at least once a year the alumni get-together programs, and there are lots of other programs we do for our Bangladeshi alumni. So these are the various parts we touch base with Bangladesh and the Macquarie University.
দর্শক, আমাদের যারা স্টুডেন্ট আছেন, প্রসপেক্টিভ স্টুডেন্ট, তাদের একটা খুবই অন্যতম প্রধান কোশ্চেন থাকে, কিভাবে আমরা অ্যাডমিশন পেতে পারি। সো উই আর গোয়িং টু টক অ্যাবাউট অ্যাডমিশন নাও। মিস্টার তানভীর শহীদ, প্লিজ টেল আস অ্যাবাউট অ্যাডমিশন sort of opportunities for Bangladeshi students into Macquarie.
Sure. As we have a long relationship with Bangladesh, so we really understand where the Bangladeshi students are coming from, which universities are good in Bangladesh, and what sort of educational level of qualifications in Bangladesh. So it's for us, it's quite easy to take the Bangladeshi students at Macquarie University. For an example, Bangladeshi students need a particular English proficiency test score. It's called that IELTS or TOEFL or PT, that sort of thing. In IELTS, we're looking for overall 6.5 with individual bands of 6 in most of the Macquarie University's courses. In TOEFL, it is equivalent to 83 and very equivalent sub-bands. Apart from that, we also look for the academic credentials of students, like we are looking for a certain good CGPA or in HSC a certain marks when they're looking for the admission at Macquarie University. And few of the courses like MBA, we are looking for the work experience as well at Macquarie University. And also I'd like to highlight that Macquarie universities have been offering courses like from foundation studies, diploma, bachelor, master's, or even at PhD level. So Bangladeshi students can explore these options through our websites, www.mq.edu.au, or we have 12 representatives in Bangladesh, especially in Dhaka and Chittagong. Bangladeshi students can go to these representative offices in Dhaka and Chittagong and can get further information about the admission.
Thank you so much. দর্শক, www.mq.edu.au যেটা আমরা স্ক্রিনেও দেখব, আপনারা এটা নোট ডাউন করে নিন। দ্যাট উইল গিভ ইউ ইনফরমেশন অ্যাবাউট হাউ টু গেট ইনটু ম্যাকোয়ারি ইউনিভার্সিটি অ্যাজ এ স্টুডেন্ট। তো আমরা এই বিষয় নিয়ে আরও পরে কথা বলছি। একটু এই পর্যায়ে নিব ছোট্ট একটা বিরতি। আপনারা দেখছেন অস্ট্রেলিয়া উচ্চশিক্ষা বিষয়ক আরটিভির বিশেষ অনুষ্ঠান স্টাডি অপরচুনিটিজ ইন অস্ট্রেলিয়া। ফিরছি একটু পরেই, সঙ্গেই থাকুন। দর্শক, আবারও আমন্ত্রণ অস্ট্রেলিয়া উচ্চশিক্ষা বিষয়ক আরটিভির বিশেষ অনুষ্ঠান স্টাডি অপরচুনিটিজ ইন অস্ট্রেলিয়াতে, সহযোগিতায় ম্যাকুয়ারি ইউনিভার্সিটি। ওয়েলকাম অ্যাগেইন এভরিওয়ান। আমরা একটু আবার কথা বলবো মিস্টার রিয়াসাত হোসেনের সাথে। প্লিজ টেল আস অ্যাবাউট স্কলারশিপ অপরচুনিটিজ দেয়ার।
Right, and I'm very excited to talk about scholarships as well because we have some big news. The biggest update that we have is, for the first time, we have a very, very generous scholarship, especially for Bangladeshi students, which is $10,000 per year for the period of study. This means if a student is doing a 2 years master program, it is up to $20,000. If it is a 4-year bachelor program, then the scholarship amount is up to 40,000 Australian dollars for the period of study. And that is one of the most generous scholarship any Australian university is providing at the moment. There is a cut-off date and acceptance deadline which students have to keep in mind. So this is a basic scholarship for all undergraduate and postgraduate programs. Apart from that, when it comes to research or PhD, we have full funded scholarships under the IRTP and MQRES scholarship schemes. And these scholarships, you would be happy to know that it's just not the 3 years of tuition fees which is covered. It also includes the living expenses, so stipend of up to 27,000 Australian dollars per year, and health insurance as well. These are the Macquarie scholarships. Apart from that, students can also explore the Australian government scholarships for postgraduate study, which is under Australian Awards and Endeavour Scholarship Leadership Program. And we also have, as Mr. Tanveer mentioned, we also have an MOU with Ministry of Public Administration in Bangladesh, for which we have a 100% scholarship specially catered to government officials under MOPA, Ministry of Public Administration. That is also a 100% scholarship, 50% contribution from the Bangladeshi government and 50% contribution by Macquarie University. So a lot of different opportunities student can explore, and the website link has already been given, but I would like to share the email address as well, which is study@mq.edu.au. So if any student wants to know more about scholarships or their entry requirements or basically anything at all, they are most welcome to send an email to study@mq.edu.au.
So it was $10,000 you said, right?
$10,000 per year. Don't forget, per year.
সো আমাদের স্টুডেন্টরা যারা ম্যাকুয়ারি ইউনিভার্সিটিতে পড়তে যাচ্ছেন, আপনারা তো শুনলেন মিস্টার রিয়াসাত হোসেনের কাছে। আরও বিস্তারিত ইনফরমেশন জানতে আপনারা যে ইমেইল অ্যাড্রেসটা দেওয়া হয়েছে সেখানে আপনারা মেল করতে পারেন। আমরা আরও কথা বলছি মিস্টার ডেভিড হ্যারিসনের সাথে। মিস্টার হ্যারিসন, ইজ দেয়ার এনি সর্ট অফ প্ল্যান ফর ম্যাকুয়ারি ইউনিভার্সিটি ইন দ্য ফিউচার?
Yeah, well, I think the future for Macquarie University and our relationship with Bangladesh looks extraordinarily bright looking forward. Bangladesh will continue to be one of our priority countries in the world for our engagement and the way that we relate to the world outside of Australia. And we'd really like to grow our partnerships and deepen them even further. And there are many things that we'd like to do to continue this wonderful relationship, one of which is we'd actually like to send Australian students here to Bangladesh. That would be a great thing for Australia as well. So not just Bangladesh to Australia, but Australia to Bangladesh. We'd also like to continue to engage with our Bangladeshi alumni. So it's growing, as Mr. Tanveer said. We've got over 550 Bangladeshi students at Macquarie. We really want to help them and keep them engaged as they graduate and as they work, whether that's in Australia, back here in Bangladesh, or elsewhere in the world. And finally, I do hope that we continue one of the most generous scholarship programs in Australia, because we're very proud that we can help as many Bangladeshi students as possible to make their dreams come true, because we know it's a big decision when you go overseas. So we're committed to this relationship, and we'll do everything we can to make it better and better.
Thank you, David, for your inputs again. Really, helpful. Mr. Tanveer Shahid, would you like to say a few more things about Macquarie or whichever that you think Bangladeshi students should know?
Sure. I think I'd like to highlight one very special thing while choosing the course for not only for Australia but anywhere in the globe or even in Bangladesh. The current students, they need to understand that they will be in the workforce after 3-4 years. So they should think about 2025, and that is the time. And what we have been seeing, the trend that the traditional courses like the networking or software engineering, these are really good, but think about beyond the current time. Think about the 2025. So Macquarie Universities is offering the courses like Master of IT in Cybersecurity. Okay, Macquarie Universities, or even lots of courses like, for example, Entrepreneurship, Bachelor of Commerce in Entrepreneurship. So these are the very unique courses where not only the salary, but also the self-satisfaction for our young generation. I would say that they need to think about that sort of courses. The mechanical or electrical are very traditional course. We do have a course like mechatronics, a combination of mechanical and electronics. So these sort of courses, I think the time has come, the student needs to think and need to look for the future. So that's my advice for the parents and the student while choosing the course. Please think for the future, not for at this moment, because these students will be in the workforce after 4, 5, 6 years. So that is one thing, and especially for the Bangladeshi student, I'd like to again highlight that before they choose Australia, they need to find out exactly what is the tuition fees of the university, where exactly the university is located, and what sort of teaching facilities and other facilities they're going to avail it. So the parents need to be aware of these sort of things.
Very nice, very nice. Really, I mean, very valuable inputs that you gave.
Just to add one thing to
Sure.
what Mr. Tanvir said, I would also like to highlight something that I've experienced over the last few years. Whenever parents would come with a student, they would ask me or whoever sitting on the other side like a counselor, what should my child study? So my answer to that is, let your child decide what he or she wants to study. If you want your child to be a doctor and he doesn't want to be a doctor, we should not be risking others' life in their hands, right? He might not be the best doctor. So let your child decide what is his or her passion. At Macquarie, we have a very the first year of most of the programs, it's very generic. So if it's a Bachelor of Commerce, which has a number of different specialization, the first year the student would study bits and pieces of all the different majors. And it's until the second year where they actually get to choose the major. So even if they start with a Bachelor of Commerce in Finance, and in the first year they think, no, I want to do entrepreneurship and I just want to be the next billionaire and come up with the next biggest idea, go ahead with that. You can always change. And we also have an incubator on campus. The idea of the incubator is it nurtures startups. So a student from any discipline can come up with a business project. As long as we think that it is a feasible idea, we will nurture that project and then chip that idea to different organizations for investment. So you might end up going to Macquarie to study engineering, but end up owning your engineering company in 4 years' time. No one knows. So, opportunities are endless. You just have to take the leap of faith.
রিয়েলি অ্যামেজিং। দর্শক, আশা করি আমাদের এই আলোচনা থেকে যে অনুষ্ঠানটা আমরা নাম দিয়েছিলাম স্টাডি অপরচুনিটিজ ইন অস্ট্রেলিয়া, আপনারা কিছু জানতে পেরেছেন। আমাদের এই দর্শক এবং আমাদের অডিয়েন্সদের জন্য ম্যাকোয়ারি ইউনিভার্সিটি এই ইনফরমেশনটা দিচ্ছে যাতে করে আপনারা অস্ট্রেলিয়ায় পড়াশোনার ব্যাপারে স্পেশালি ম্যাকোয়ারি ইউনিভার্সিটিতে জানতে পারেন, আপনাদের সহযোগিতা হয়। আমরা আশা করি এটা আপনাদের কিছুটা হলেও কাজে লাগবে। আমরা ভবিষ্যতে হয়তো আরও কখনো আসবো, এসে আবার আমরা অন্য বিষয় নিয়েও কথা বলবো। আজকে আমাদের এই প্রোগ্রামে আসার জন্য আমাদের guest, Mr. David Harrison. We really appreciate your time and your inputs. Mr. Tanvir Shahid, thank you once again for coming.
Thank you.
Mr. Yasat Hussain, amazing inputs. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
দর্শক, আমাদের এই অনুষ্ঠানে এতক্ষণ ধরে থাকার জন্য এবং আমাদের শোনার জন্য আপনাদেরকে অনেক ধন্যবাদ।